Welcome to the Equip Podcast. Here you'll find conversations from people of all different walks of life, sharing their experiences, the things the Lord has taught them, and things to equip you. Equip is based on Ephesians 4:11-13 that talks about equipping God's people for works of service so that the body of Christ may be built up. That is our goal here, to build you up and equip you through seasons of ups and downs in life. Welcome back to the Equip Podcast. I'm your host, Taylor Gibson, and today I'm joined by mother-daughter duo, Linda and Lauren Fehlis. Linda is wife to Dawn, and they have 3 adult children and 5 grandchildren. Lauren is wife to Kurt and Linda's youngest son, and they have 1 son. Did I get all my numbers right?
I think you got it all now.
Well, perfect. Well, welcome to the podcast. So glad y'all are here. We will dive right in talking about the in-law relationship today. So what did y'all do in the beginning to feel like family and kind of welcome each other in? And did Kurt have any role in that?
So Hi, I'm Lauren. I would say that Kurt really didn't have anything to do with that. Like, I love him. He just put us together and was like, okay, there you go. And kind of let it be what it was. I think the first encounter I had with Linda, Kurt and I were just friends. And so we went and did putt-putt golf with his family. And that was just fun. I was working with him. It was cute. It was an easy time. So when we did start dating, I think it was 2 months into the relationship, I got invited to family Thanksgiving. And that was my first full-on Fehlis experience. And they are big on family. They are big on games. And I was not raised in a game family, but we played this game called Quelf. Linda's laughing. I don't know if you've ever played Quelf. It's a ridiculous game, kind of like Cranium. So there's categories. You can do charades, or they have rules you have to follow whenever you get that card. So at one point I was sitting under the table. I could only speak in one word syllable, words that only had one syllable.
It's a fun game, it really is.
Is this the part 2 months into dating where you're questioning?
2 months into dating, and I'm grunting under his family's table going, ugh. So I feel with that, the walls just came down immediately. There was, you couldn't get away from that. I don't know what Linda thought of me at that first time, but I thought, this family knows how to have a good time. Okay,
so games, that was a good welcome.
Yeah, well, I don't even think we did anything different. We just did what we always do as a family. And yeah, games are a big part of our family. That game I've forgotten about. We need to pull it off the shelf.
Please
again.
no.
Flashback to early trauma.
Yeah, it was a good time. And yeah, I've always just kind of stayed in the background when our kids brought new people into our family. But I knew right away Lauren was good.
Oh,
I love that.
A mom has an instinct, I think.
I think maybe Kurt knew that his greatest asset was his family. So he's like, ooh, we're just going to get this in real early. Let make her fall in love with the fam.
And then she's in. And no leaving now.
Yeah. I mean, and pretty early on, no, you can't say you just faded to the background or anything. You brought me on a family vacation to Disney World.
That's true.
2 months later,
went on with our
3
life.
months later.
Yeah.
That'll really do it.
So
in an RV.
We went, I can't even remember how long that drive was, but we were in an
2
RV
days.
for 2 days with Don and Linda and Kurt and me and 2 cats. And we learned a lot about each other, I think, in that time.
Yeah.
It was really fun, though. I loved it. I mean, come on. New relationship. And he's like, for Christmas, you're going to Disney with my family. I was like, sign me up. All right, we're going.
Done. I feel like a family vacation is the quickest way to create some bonding or to mess things up for a long time.
Again, Kurt knew what he had, and he was like, I'm just going to show you all right now.
I love that. So do y'all have any kind of set rhythm or expectations for how often you see each other since you live in the same town?
I'll answer that one first. I don't, I know we're going to see him probably on Sundays, although there's been Sundays that we don't.
And that's working in a church.
Because that's church
Yeah.
life, and we know church life. I know after a week or so, I start getting antsy to see them, but they're so busy. And I've learned that there's seasons that they're busier. And I don't think we put expectations on them.
No.
We kind of wait for them to call. And we've actually said, no sometimes when they've talked.
I know.
Spur of the
so
moment.
Rude.
Oh.
Which I'm real proud of myself.
Good for you.
But, like I might already be in my PJs and they'll say, we're going to go to Chewy's or whatever. And I'll
Why
say,
is it always Chewy's?
or Andy's. And I'll say, maybe not tonight.
Already in my PJs.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't put expectations on us ever. There is they keep our son on Wednesday nights because both Kurt and I work at the church and we're here till 8:30 at night and Cam's at the church childcare here. It feels cruel almost to have him be here that long on a Wednesday.
Because he's been here all day.
Because he's been here since 8:30 in the morning. A 12-hour day at childcare is tough. So we don't want to do that to him. And Don and Linda have graciously invited Cam over to their house. So we have a little meetup at the student center after I pick him up from school. And then he's so excited to go to Mimi and Granddaddy's house every Wednesday night. So,
and Granddaddy's his favorite person, right?
I mean, hands down, he will avoid the rest of us and run past us to give Granddaddy a hug. When I pick him up on Sunday mornings at church, he's like, yeah, but where's Granddaddy? And so we go on a hunt to find Granddaddy. Sorry, Mimi, we're chopped liver.
Okay.
And so with that, them keeping him every Wednesday, there is this desire in my heart to not see Mimi and Granddaddy as just childcare.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have this rotation of okay, yes, we're getting their help, but we're also pursuing a relationship. We can't just drop Cam off with them and be okay, here we go. Bye. See you later.
Mm-hmm.
So we enjoy each other's company. So we have to have times like that. So if I feel we've been too busy, then it's hey, let's invite Don and Linda over. We'll play games because we're a game family. This is what we do.
It sounds like you're playing Quelf again next.
Maybe not. I'll push for an easier game. And so it's just, there's a healthy balance of if you ask, you give as well. It's just, it has to be balanced. And again, we enjoy each other's company. So it's an easy thing.
That's good. You mentioned Cam and just watching Cam throughout the week. So how has bringing a child into the picture affected the relationship?
I can answer that. I feel there's a whole new side of Linda I get to access now because I have a preschooler and her background, she was a preschool minister for how many years?
19.
19 years. Yeah. So as someone who is not raised in a church environment, I don't have the background knowledge of I talked about this in another podcast, but I don't have preschool songs in my heart. I don't know how to take the gospel and turn it into something that my 3-year-old can understand.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'll talk with Linda and just be I don't know how to say this. He's doing this crazy thing. He's acting insane. How do I describe sin to a 3-year-old? And she just is a wealth of knowledge. And Cam comes home and he's singing, this is the day, this is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made. It's a Mimi thing. I didn't know that song. Mimi taught it to him. So I just feel very blessed. I feel now I have a lot more I can talk to you about and really gain more from, it feels selfish. I'm gaining a lot from this relationship.
It's great.
So I'm grateful for that. The conversations we have, it's kind of a unifying goal that you and I have to have Cam grow up and have a love for the Lord and a love for his word. And so we can talk about how to work together to make that happen.
That's really cool. What do you think, Linda?
One of the reasons we moved here after we got permission from them to move here was to spend as much time as we could with this grandchild because we had been separated before with work and stages of life and distance with our other grandchildren, although we've spent quality time with them. I love being here where we can see him grow in each stage. Mm-hmm. I mean, you miss stages. If you don't see a grandchild for a month, you've missed some stage probably at early development. Mm-hmm. So this has been such a blessing.
That's really cool. So how do y'all communicate disagreements with one another?
I really don't know of any disagreements. That's partly that's my personality. I'm non-confrontational. So
well, you both are, right?
Right. Yeah. If you're a fan of Enneagrams, I'm a 9, so I'm a peacekeeper.
Yeah. So that's probably when I looked at that question, I thought, well, I bite my tongue if there's something I don't think is right, but it's never major.
Yeah.
And that I do that with all relationships. I just try to work it out. So I can't say that there's been too many disagreements.
So
that
yes, we don't have any serious disagreements. We don't have anything that's like a knockout, drag out fight between us. There's no like harbored bitterness. It's easy. But I think a lot of that is not just because our personalities are made to mesh well. Because Linda, you're a 1 on the Enneagram, right? So she perfectionist. She knows the right way to do things.
I think she does.
No, she does. She knows the right way. Her way is better, and I mean that. I'm not saying that's her thought. It just is. But we go into our relationship just assuming the best of each other. I think that goes such a long way. So, if there is something that we don't see eye to eye on, we give each other benefit of the doubt. We assume that the other person is trying to work towards a healthy, good goal. And then there's no problem if that's how you start from the get-go. There are like not disagreements, but things where maybe there is friction sometimes. And we don't talk about it. We both avoid conflict sometimes. So like I'm thinking there was... And maybe you don't know about this, Linda. When we went on vacation, I came home and you had cleaned parts of our house for us while we were gone. and okay, so it's not a conflict, but like I have insecurities that kind of came up in that moment where I was like, oh my gosh, my house is filthy. Like, I know I'm not the best housekeeper. I'm just so busy with work, and like my child is a lot. And she just saw my house and was like, oh, we have to take care of this. Like, Linda, was that what you thought when you were doing it?
No. This is the thing. They had been gone for like, Kurt had been gone almost 3 weeks, it seems like. And they were gone for over a week. And we went over to mow their grass. Dawn said, I'm going to go mow their grass to bless them. And I didn't want to go outside. It was 100 degrees. So,
I feel that.
and I couldn't just sit there and twiddle my thumbs. No. And I know it was wrong to do it without permission.
No.
And it was not meant to be a judgment of her housekeeping or anything. I wanted to bless. So, yeah, I won't do it again, Lauren.
Well, you're welcome to come bless my house anytime.
I'm not. It was fine. So I'm just saying there was like this internal battle when I got home and realized my shower is spotless. It was not when I left. What is happening? Then I was like, I had through all the emotions of like, oh my gosh, she must think I'm terrible at taking care of my house. And then I had to like work myself back from that because I know myself. I know I have these insecurities that I think I'm just not good enough because of X, Y, Z or whatever. And so taking that into consideration, I had to be like, okay, Lauren, is this her intention? Was this what she meant? Is this what she thought? And because of your history of being kind and considerate, I could walk myself back and be like, that is not how she intended this. She was just trying to bless us. She was trying to be helpful because she knows our lives are crazy. She knows it's hard. So because of our track record, our history, our relationship, I could step back and it wasn't a problem. I just had to do the internal work of like, why am I feeling this way? Why am I reacting?
Well, and I think that's so healthy to be able to look at. And I feel like the in-law relationship is always one that you go in because there's so many things that the world says, oh, it's tense, it's awkward, it's hard, whatever. And so you go in thinking, oh gosh, is this going to be crazy? And it doesn't have to be. And so I think being able to acknowledge, okay, where are our own insecurities in something? And then what am I assuming about this person? Because it's like you said earlier, you have to expect and believe the best in one another. And so if you're making these assumptions like, well, she probably thinks that X, Y, Z, well, maybe you need to check yourself. And sometimes maybe your husband is the one to check that for you and be like, okay, that's not my mom. Calm down. Sometimes you need a good friend that's like, okay, well, maybe that's not her intention. Like maybe we could look at this another way. I think it's really helpful to be able to even just take a minute to internally think, okay, what is the background of this? And we don't always do that for each other.
And like as a little side note, because you brought up like how Kurt would handle that. Like I also work hard to not just like have my processing happen in front of Kurt. Like I'm talking about his mom. Like you can't really do that. So I did the like think through it all. And then after I came to the conclusion I go and confess to Kurt like, hey, I struggled with these emotions and this is how I took it. I'm working on it and we're now here. And he's like, okay, good. Yeah. Cause mom for sure wanted to bless you.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, good. I'm glad we're on the same page.
Great. Now we worked through it. So Linda, what made you want to pursue a healthy relationship with Lauren and kind of bring her in as part of the family?
Well, because I loved her and I loved that she loved our son.
Mm-hmm.
And that was number one. I struggled with all my in-laws, all the children brought into my life because of the relationship I had with my own mother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm ashamed to say I didn't resolve it before she passed away. But my husband is an only child. And Kurt, in a way, is an only child too. But my mother-in-law was very controlling from day one.
Mm.
In fact, she told us when we had to be back from our honeymoon because we had to be at Christmas Eve service. And that's the way our whole married life was.
Mm.
She told us and dictated what we had to do. And I regret that we didn't resolve all that. She never probably knew how I felt about it. But being a number one, very independent child, firstborn, I thought it the whole time of our marriage when she was around. So I've been over backwards to not be that mother-in-law.
I would say you've been successful for me, at least.
Yeah. And I just always tried to not be the one that demand. And it was hard. It's hard. You know, when you get a lot, you want everybody together at Thanksgiving. You want everybody together at Christmas, but their kids marry into other families and they're raised differently too. And so, yeah, that's probably my number one thing that I've done with all of my daughter-in-law. I have two daughter-in-laws and one son-in-law that I don't want to be that mother-in-law that they don't want to be around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's a hard thing too, to figure out what battles are worth fighting. Like really, what is worth addressing and what is let me just hold my tongue. You know?
Can we talk about a silly, easy thing like that? Like, where we have a little bit of we see things differently. I'm a first time mom, right? So I'm a little bit high stress, high anxiety about a lot of things. I'll own it, right? So I have this thing where I don't want Cam to eat a hot dog unless it's been roll cut up. Same thing with grapes. And I realize he's now probably at the age where we don't have to do that anymore, but I still do it. So whenever we serve grapes, we cut them up. And I know Linda does not agree that we still need to do that.
I don't even think about it, honestly.
What?
I'm sorry.
And so she doesn't like, I know, because I feel like we've had this conversation where you're like, I don't know that we need to, but you still do. And I love that. And so she's respecting my wishes regardless of her thoughts and regardless of how like maybe ridiculous they are. But I mean, really, when you've had to do the Heimlich on your kid, you go a little crazy. I had to do that one time with animal crackers. We just don't play anymore. Yeah. So I appreciate that. Like, we maybe don't see eye to eye, but I think it's so huge that she still honors my wishes. As Cam's mom.
Hey, but choking is scary. I remember as a child growing up, when we got to the age where we could stay home by ourselves, we were not allowed to eat while a parent was gone because my mother was paranoid we'd choke.
Oh my gosh, I hate showering while Cam has any snacks or anything. I'm like, surely it's going to happen while I'm in the shower. He's going to die and it's going to be my fault. It's ridiculous. It's fine. These are intrusive thoughts I'm battling.
Yep. We'll just keep battling this. So do y'all have any funny stories from your relationship over the years?
Oh, no.
I'm going to tell one, and I may not get it right, but hey, were you married or were y'all just engaged when you showed up in Houston for the walk?
Oh, we were like, I don't even think we were engaged.
Well, it was
dating.
early in their relationship, and I, was doing this walk in Houston. It was a marathon walk, and Lauren decided she would join us, and Kurt didn't tell her exactly how long the walk was. And
I like that we can put this on Kurt.
Hold on. No, Kurt told me I would be riding in a car listening to music while the walk was happening.
She could have chosen to do. So she shows up and it's a 2-day walk, marathon. She shows up and she doesn't even have tennis shoes.
I'm wearing sandals.
She's wearing sandals. And Kelly or I gave her one of our extra, I don't know who did what, but she walked the whole walk. Never admitted that she didn't come thinking that's what she was going to do.
And Kurt told me I would be riding in the car because historically that's what he did.
That's all he ever did.
Walk.
He never walked.
And I don't remember why Kurt wasn't there. Like, so it was just me and his family.
I'm sure he was busy. I'm sure he was
So
busy.
I showed up to be supportive and ride in a car, but then everybody gets out of the car to go walk, and they're all like donning their pink things. I don't own a single thing that's
we
pink.
did find you something pink, but...
And it was one of those, like, am I going to be the only one who stays in the car? No, I'm going to be with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She just went right in and did it.
So funny. Powered through. How long did it take for you to tell them?
Oh, I don't think I ever did.
She didn't. I think I was looking at pictures the next year or something, and she might have admitted it then.
That sounds right. So very far removed from the situation.
That's funny.
We were married before I admitted it.
Yeah. Like, I'm fully in.
It's awesome.
She didn't. Oh, yeah, you have walked again, though. She did walk again.
Yeah, well, the shorter ones.
The 3 mile.
Mm-hmm.
Not the 13 plus.
No more marathons for you.
No more.
No. I've already shared some of our funny stories. I do think it was funny. We were in the hospital right after Cam was born. And that's when Don and Linda were like, you know what? We feel like the Lord's calling us to come move here and be with you guys. I was like, oh, I'm sure he did. Come on, you see this cute, chunky baby, and you're like, you know what?
We need
where I need to be.
Feels like great
Sounds
timing.
awesome. I agree. Yes, you need to be here. I need help. Thank you.
But we did ask permission.
See, that's good.
It was a resounding yes. Another funny story was going to pick blueberries with them when they first moved here, but that wasn't the funny part. The funny part was, well, I don't know if you think it's funny. They had to stay in an RV for like 3 or 4 months. And so we saw a lot of them at that point while they were waiting to get into the house that they had bought. There was something with COVID and everything. They had to wait a long time to get in the house. So they stayed in an RV for several months. We had them over to have like real showers or like big dinners. And, you know, so we would have them over a whole bunch. But we went to pick blueberries, and Cam was like 4 months old or something. And I just have a great funny memory of us sitting in the RV making blueberry pancakes with freshly picked blueberries, and he's passed out, and Don, I think, was in the back reading, and it was just you and I hanging out at the table drinking
The
coffee.
space is like this.
Tiny.
Like 3 feet, maybe.
Yeah. 2 feet, 3 feet.
Which is very intimate, but I loved that. I loved those times.
There were some sweet moments, I think, that came out of COVID with family bonding. Like, Aaron and I were dating at that point, and I was living with my parents, and he was living in an apartment. And so he would come play games with our family all the time. Yeah. And it's like, there was good family bonding in that. Yeah. It's good to look back and find some positives in a difficult season. Okay. Well, I want to end on a high note today. What do you love about each other?
Well, gee, is that long pause?
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
I'll go first. I love that she loves Kurt, and she loves his ministry. She loves students. I love how she loves Cam, and what a great mom she is. And she also gives me different perspectives because of what way she was raised, and I can, she just gives me a different way to look at things, and I need that.
Yeah.
So I just love her.
Yeah, I would echo that with a different perspective. Just the way I was raised is so different, such a different environment than what my husband grew up in. And so I feel like we have a lot that we can learn from each other. New perspectives, new ideas, just the things that our families prioritized is just vastly different. But my favorite thing, the thing I love most about Linda, is she's this like perfect balance of being kind, but also really strong. So she's going to be like the shoulder that you can cry on, but she's going to hold you accountable. She's going to make sure that you're walking in the way that the Lord wants. And if you're not, then she will gently and in love be able to say, this is where you need to be. And she'll speak truth into my life whenever I'm struggling with the lies of Satan or whatever insecurities. She can be that, yes, it's hard. This is not truth. And she creates loving environments with her home. That's something I want to try to copy and emulate. So I'm like, at family gatherings, I'm studying what she does. I'm like, how is she handling this? Because I want my home to feel like this whenever we're the place people come eventually. So I don't know. I love that about you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
That's so
Thank
sweet.
you.
Well, you both know because you've both been on the podcast before. We have 2 questions. We ask every guest, what is something you're learning and what is something you're loving?
I will go first on that one too. I am loving just being here in Tyler. I'm loving how God is using us, the ministry we're involved in. And it's just something, I think I probably said it on the last time I did a podcast, just something I never dreamed of, that I could be here doing what I love to do with people that I love. And he's teaching me, and he's been teaching me this throughout my life. And I don't know if I'll ever get it to delegate. I'm not good at delegating. It's a control issue I've come to see, but I need to be better at delegating. So he's working on me.
That's good. That's really good. Lauren, what about you?
I am really loving decorating for fall right now. Going through Hobby Lobby or like Home Goods and just looking at all the fall colors. I'm a girl who loves everything that's like warm. And so warm colors, warm just environment, cozy fires. Like, this is my season. I'm fully embracing it. Yes, I've already had my pumpkin spice latte.
Oh, yes.
I got it from Dunkin' Donuts. It was delicious. So just things like that just give me life, being around all of that and thinking through, like, I don't know, just the warmth. I have a bracelet on my wrist. This goes in line with what I'm learning that Linda actually gave me. It's verse Ephesians 6:7. And it says, serve wholeheartedly as if you were serving the Lord, not people. And that has been a good reminder for me as I'm going through the past couple of weeks. Like, you can get caught up in work. Like, I want to please this person, my boss, do what they need from me. Or like the people that I'm serving and ministering to, I want to serve them. But like, number one, I'm supposed to be serving the Lord. So as I'm making decisions of how I'm going to spend my time, what I'm going to put my energy into, that's helping me be more discerning on what's important and what gets my best.
That's really good. I like that. Well, Linda, Lauren, thank you for being here today and giving us a peek inside your relationship. I really appreciate y'all.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for listening to the Equip Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to be the first to know when a new episode drops. And follow us on social media to stay connected. We're at GABC_women. See you next time.